Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge, and welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And I'm sitting in the sanctuary kind of backwards because my guest is with me today. As you can see, he's brought an instrument that I can't wait to hear him play or talk about or whatever. And I've got my shout out behind me. I want to give a shout out to the OpenSea.io NFT farm that Mark, who's behind me over here, is doing for all of the artists here at the Fledge, and you'll hear a lot more about this in the coming weeks as we start to build the momentum and what we're going to do there. And then I'm wearing a Dwight Rich shirt because Shannon, my wife, has transferred from Patton Gill to Dwight Rich, which is an art school. So I guess art's the theme today. Yeah. And shout out to Shannon and Raven and Rain, my family, for It's my birthday today. I'm 55
Happy
today.
Happy birthday, man.
Oh, thank you. I'm a Fibonacci number. So
well, I'm 55 too, so we're sitting here together.
2 Fibonacci numbers.
Yep.
We got to make it to the next one.
The next one's 89. Oh, 89, okay.
Yeah. So 55 plus 34, which is the previous one, makes the next one, which is 89. So shout out to Fibonacci and that discovery. Mark taught me something about autocellular, autochrom, something I got to learn about now. And also shout out to all my friends giving me birthday wishes and showing some love and all that. You people are the best. I'm surrounded by the best community, I think. And speaking of that, I think it's because of people like you, Larry.
Oh, thanks, man. I was going to say the same thing about you, man. This is a great operation you've been running here, and so many of my friends have participated in your opportunities. I guess that's the whole point of your building here, giving opportunities.
I've asked for guests so many times, and the community always comes through. Shout out to Dawn, because from Ellie's Place, she always finds a guest for me. And I've been saving this date, trying to get somebody from Antarctica to come on. And then we would have had a show on every continent. But that fell through, no problem. That wasn't my goal from the beginning.
Well, you get me instead of Antarctica. I'm almost as big.
I bet you if I went through all of the posts where people suggested a guest, that your name shows up more than anybody else's.
Really? Okay.
But it's been rare that I've directly asked, because I figured if you're tagged and you don't want to, then I'm not going to ask you. But you wished me Nappy Earth Day or something this morning.
Yeah, you take a nap on your birthday.
Yeah.
But Earth Day.
And I'm like, I'm just going to ask Larry, because everybody loves what you do.
Okay.
And
that's not what I've heard, but
okay, I'll take that back. I don't know that everybody loves what you do, but a lot of your friends and people I know, like I'll have people.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think you're like in one circle, and then this whole other circle emerges, and you're in that circle too, and then this whole other thing. Like, I think one of the, I knew you kind of as, oh, he's the guy that does these cool D&D.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, sorry, man. I don't know where that blank came from.
That's okay, man. It's your birthday, so.
But you're gonna get that song stuck in my head by Melly probably. And then you show up over at Kevin Shane's house, and I'm like, all right, Larry knows these guys too. And then you show up with Big Null somewhere, and
well, they're all old dudes. People I've spent a lot of time with here in Lansing over the decades, and especially our common friend Jim. I've known him since the late '80s, so we've been tight since then. So it's just a lot of good teamwork over the years.
Yeah. So let's get into you a little bit. You've
All
been
right.
in Lansing for a long time.
Longer than I want to admit.
Were you born and raised here?
No, I was born and raised in Ohio. I grew up all over pretty much an Ohio River boy. I grew up on the west side of the Ohio River, where my family was rich, and then I had to move to the east side of the Ohio River, where we struggled, and so I kind of got the best of both worlds of the Ohio River, as they said. But then I also lived in Lansing for a couple of years during the early 70s.
Okay.
And I went to Post Oak Elementary School, lived in the Groesbeck neighborhood of Lansing, and which is kind of bringing me up to a weird story I'd like to talk about. But
whenever you want.
I will. But in early 70s, 72, 73, I lived in Lansing, went elementary school for a couple of years. And then I moved to Plymouth, Michigan. So I grew up in Plymouth, Michigan for my middle school and my 8th grade through high school. And my parents lived there while I was in college as well. So that was
Plymouth
my main.
Salem or Plymouth Canton?
Plymouth. I was Plymouth Canton. My brother was Plymouth Salem.
Okay.
And they if you were overweight and a nerd, they made you pick a blue chip or a red chip at that campus. If you were red, you're Canton. If you picked blue, it was a big high school that campus that actually held 2 schools, as you know.
Yeah.
It was just a cheap way to get extra money from the government. You just put 2 high schools right next to each other, and then you had classes in both buildings, and so it was kind of.
That's weird. I didn't know that part about it.
It is weird.
So were you a Crip or a Blood?
I was the Crip. The Salem was the Blood,
Okay.
So, but it was just my family was split even by the school.
That's weird.
We went to 2 different schools even though we were, in the same house.
So were you a rival with your brother?
I think when he ran track and I played soccer, and when the games happened, there was definitely some rivalry going on.
Huh.
So
the reason I know about this is twofold. One is my roommate in college, a wrestler from Plymouth Salem, taught me all about Plymouth Salem and Plymouth Canton and all of that. And then I worked for Unisys, which you would have known as the Burroughs Smokestack. Do you remember this?
In Plymouth?
In Plymouth?
Yeah, I sure remember that smokestack.
Right at Haggerty and
Yep.
6 Mile, was it, maybe?
I don't remember the streets, but I do remember that big.
Yeah.
If you were talking about the same thing there, I drove past it a lot.
And it said Burroughs right down the smokestack. So
All
we've
right.
got our smokestack here,
Right here.
representing Burroughs.
Or Ypsilanti, where I also lived. Ypsilanti.
With the big dick.
Yeah. There you go.
I did live in Ipsy, but I never lived in Plymouth, but I commuted there. So why'd you live in Ipsy?
For grad school at EMU. I lived right on Washington Hall Road and on some cheap apartment building for a couple of years. So it was,
Yeah. What was your master's in or your grad school?
I was education.
Yeah.
Education. And then I majored in German and minored in Japanese when I went to MSU.
So you've got your bachelor's from MSU?
Yes.
And your grad from Eastern Michigan?
Eastern Michigan.
Or your master's? Any others?
No, barely that.
Aren't you an ordained minister or something?
No. People, some guy told me I would be the most likely in my high school, most likely to lead a cult. That was what they told me in high school, but I haven't gotten to that status yet. No.
Stay out of my wheelhouse, man. I'm leading a cult. So
I was about to say, you are the cult leader here, so.
I don't know what this means. Oh, konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa means hello. How you doing?
That's from James.
All right.
I couldn't quite pronounce it when I was first looking at it, but then once I said it, I knew what it was.
Konnichiwa. Yeah.
So, so you, I don't know, graduate from Eastern Michigan. You don't want to stay.
Well, I got suckered away after that to work for a political activism company, a fundraising company, just like our friend Jim. That's where I met him. I kind of changed my whole life direction. They wanted me to work, and and I did political fundraising for quite a long time after that. So
this is late 80s through the 90s.
yeah, late 80s through the 90s, and, where I met Jim in probably 1989 is when I met him for the first time doing the same kind of political action work. So got us. We traveled all over the country. That was the really the coolest part.
Was it?
I would be James and I would be hanging out in Illinois, or would be hanging out in Ohio, or hanging out in Kentucky together, just traveling all over the country and partying. It was a good job.
Nice. And if anyone doesn't remember who James is, he did the big painting that's behind the screen that I put in front of it for today's show. And the only commenter. Let's get some comments and some questions going, crowd.
Oh, we're live like that. Okay.
Yeah, we are. So, tell us something about that. What's the most embarrassing thing James ever did? And
what's the most
I'm just
embarrassing
kidding. I'm
thing?
kidding.
Well, there was that one time, and that. Okay, that'd be nice.
All right, so
we got in trouble together. That's when we did.
So, no snitching.
Oh no.
What happened after that?
I trying to remember what I did. I started working at Elderly Instruments.
Oh yeah, I forgot you did that.
Yep, I worked at Elderly Instruments after that, and I did political work for about 9.5 years, almost a decade, and then I completely changed gears again and became a salesman at Elderly. Rose through the ranks there. First thing I did was answer the phone calls in their mail order department, and sat there in the basement, just in cubicles with all these other musicians who were trapped in the basement.
And Elderly, it's a local Lansing company.
The best guitar store, string instrument store in the world.
Yeah,
and it's in Lansing. It's an
Isn't
old
that
town.
Amazing?
Yeah, Stan Werbin has run it. I've always looked up to that guy. He is an awesome man. He and his family have been running that business since the early 70s, and I'm so happy to have spent about 5 years there in my life. So
and it really is world renowned.
World renowned, because I spoke German and Japanese. I was on that during my guitar sales part, which lasted about a couple years. I was the guy that had to sell the guitar in Japanese and in German, and that was the first time I actually used my foreign language, my MSU classes. And so they would go, Larry, I'm from Tokyo, because the time I worked there, they were selling the most expensive guitars in the world out of Lansing, and they were the Martin guitars, Rosewood, World War II era, to the richest people in Japan. That was before the bubble hit in Japan, and these guys were just spending $150,000, $200,000 a pop just to buy an American-made, Martin, Pennsylvania, Martin guitar from World War II era. So it was specific.
I know a lot of our crowd knows what Elderly Instruments is and has heard of them and all of that, but every time I hear a new fact about them, it just gets more and more amazing.
Yeah, it's a great place for musicians, and I got to talk to a lot of famous people on the phones when I worked there. Yeah. And one day I was on the sales floor, and I picked up the phone, and I heard in this gruff voice, "I'm Mitch Ryder. Give me Frog." And if you're a local here, you know what that meant. But I had to go get Steve Forgy, the Frog, and Mitch Ryder wanted to talk to Frog. And for you young people, you probably don't even know who Mitch Ryder is, but he was a Detroit rocker. And I picked up the phone one day. I know this is, you guys young won't know it, but the bass player from Midnight Oil, he just says, "I'm the bass player from Midnight Oil, and good day, and I want to get some, what do you recommend?" So that was kind of cool. I met Pete Seeger there. He came in, and I had to tour him around. I was lucky enough I was just standing nearby, and like, "Larry, give Pete Seeger a tour of the store." And I was like, okay,
whatever. So Peter Frampton was probably washed out by the time you were working there then?
Probably, but we still had those little talk boxes that we sold.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Do
cool.
you feel like I do?
Yeah.
So I got a Peter Frampton story. You want to hear it?
Sure.
Little kid in the 70s sometime. Everyone will know the year as soon as I tell the story. the NBC, the cartoons get over, NBC News comes on, the king of rock and roll has died. And I look at my brother and say, Peter Frampton died, because he's the only rock and roll guy I really knew at that age.
That's okay. I remember I grew up in that age. So we just found out we're the same age. So we're going to get each other's cultural references pretty easy, But I remember the Peter Frampton days, and that cover of his album where it looks like he's got a machine gun. He's like, that was, you guys are still too young, you don't know.
Yeah, some people will know.
Yeah, some people will know.
James and Cindy, they're commenting, so they know.
All right, sounds good.
So after Elderly Instruments,
I couldn't sell guitars anymore. God bless that store, but I just had to move on and got my act together and started teaching. So I started teaching in the Lansing School District in the summer of '99. And
where was your first school?
Some elementary school. I think it was Averill Elementary School, and I did summer school. That was my first plunge into the darkness of teaching there, the enlightenment of teaching.
On the southwest side.
Yep, southwest side, and little would I know that I would be back there many times after that. But I enjoyed it and started being a substitute teacher, and then I rose the ranks there and started teaching German and Japanese. And I had a cooking class at Otto in the home ec room. I
nice.
Taught computers, I taught graphics, I taught a lot of different things that moved me around. So I was kind of the jack of all trades for Lansing for a long time. And I taught Japanese last year at Sexton online during the COVID year. That was my class, and enjoyed it a whole lot. Got to, but I'm just bad at computers, so I just couldn't. It was hard to do it online.
You taught computers, but you were bad at computers?
Yeah. I'm not good at computers. In general, no. They break around me. I got some. This is one of the show you're calling Being Larry. Well, Being Larry is that I got this force field, electrical static charge negative or something, and every time I touch an electronic or computer, it ironically goes haywire. And I was at a party where they had one of those voltmeters, and everybody was touching it, and mine went the opposite direction. The arrow went to like red, mine went to green. I was the only one in the room where they kept on saying, do it again. With
the positive charge.
Yeah, whatever
Everyone
charge.
else was negative.
Yeah, I guess that's the sign. I just remember different colors and different sides. And so I'm wired that way. I think naturally computers break on me just from my karma or field or whatever.
Screw computers, man. They're in the way.
Yeah, that's why I use a lot of good pens. Nice paper.
So you've been a teacher.
Yep.
And did you retire this year or something?
No, I'm just taking a break from it.
Okay.
I don't. I'm at a point right now where I realize my health was getting affected by being a teacher, and mainly my nerves. And I think of my future career as a job where I don't have to raise my voice. And unfortunately, working, in a school environment, you got to go, hey, get the hell off that wall. Don't hang on the bleachers.
What is it? My wife's been back for 4 days, and I can already hear it in her voice that, oh my gosh. And she went from 5th grade to 7th grade. So now she's got that dynamic of the, pre-puber, I don't know what the right words are, but those kids that are going to act like jackasses.
That's
how they're wired.
Yeah, they're wired that way. You're saying it really nicely. I appreciate that. But
it's a tough job.
It's a tough job, and I moved from assignment to assignment during it, and it was a great experience, a great challenge. I enjoyed it, but I think I'm ready to move on, since I always change my careers a lot, as you noticed already.
Yeah.
I remember in 5th grade, at one of the county fairs, one of the Sears or the mediums, the witch lady in the booth grabbed my hand. I had to pay like 75 cents to get my palm read, and she says, "Oh, you're not going to have just one career. You're going to have 10." And I was like, "Oh, that sounds tiresome."
Well, you got like 6 more to go then.
I think so. There's a few other ones I've been doing, but so I changed my career every so often just to keep my head together. And it seems to have started even at a young age. So,
were you when you were young? Did you have like shit jobs that all
I
of
had
us have,
so
or?
many jobs. I remember multiple summers I would have 3 jobs, and my dad made me get a job. He would I was 15 when I got my first job, and I had to get a work permit to work at KFC. I was slinging chicken at 15, and then working at the local park in Plymouth, and just working, being a side cook at a sports bar, all in one summer there.
Nice.
I was tired.
I worked for the Parks and Rec in Lansing one year. We had to lie about my age because I think you had to be 14, but I was only 13. And then I was a bus boy at Coscarelli's.
Oh, okay, that's a good restaurant.
It was a good restaurant. It was my dad's best friend, so
all right, there you go.
All that privilege coming into play. But that was a fun job because I got tips, so I had cash at the end of the night every night. So that was fun.
That is awesome. Well, working at restaurants was pretty much my whole life for a certain point. After I graduated college, it stopped. But I here in East Lansing, when I was an MSU student, I guess I'm lying here. I did it all through my MSU days as well. I worked at Ellis Teco like everybody else that I know.
I worked at Small Planet.
Small Planet, yeah. That's where I met you for the first time. My bands were. I remember you guys, and my band played a bunch of times there, and you guys didn't like us, so that's why I remember you guys.
Who, me?
No, I don't know. I'm sure I met you. I'm joking right here, but during that time, the owner, Van or Vaughn, I knew him a lot, and we would talk often, and so I'm assuming I hung out with you during those days.
Do you remember Austin, the cook, the tall Jamaican guy, or
maybe? I'm sure I saw him.
But you must have known. Now you know Jim's friend. I can't remember his name. He lives in St. Louis.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of his name too.
He was the manager of Small Planet when I worked there, but
the guy, the wine guy and the sake guy. Yeah, I'm never good with names.
James will say his name.
Sure. What's his name?
So, hi, Sean. I know I owe you a response. I'll get back to you. James said that when you touch stuff, it's not just electronics that you screw up. I don't know what he means by that.
It means I touch many other things and they break as well.
Daryl Bernard is his name. Thank you, James. And sorry, Daryl. I've had a lot of shows. I'm trying to catch up on.
That's funny.
Even just remembering. I really want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, man. That's my other career.
The people say about you that what's the leader of the master or something?
Well, I want to say it's been for years. This most of us are in the closet.
Yeah.
We don't want to mention our real job in life, and that's a dungeon master, and we've come out. We've all come out of our closet in the last couple of years, just because Dungeons and Dragons is I'd have to say the most popular I've ever seen it in my whole life in the last couple of years, and it's exploded. It's become the norm, and I feel a little betrayed, because I used to be just the radical playing Dungeons and Dragons, and you had to be an extreme nerd, and now nerd is cool, and it's everywhere. I mean, Arby's is selling Dungeons and Dragons dice. If Arby's is selling Dungeons and Dragons dice with their little hat guy in the middle of the die, it's time maybe to stop or playing the game. No, I've been playing it since 1979. It got invented in the late 60s. It got published in the early 70s, and I felt like I started late in 1979, and I haven't stopped since playing it. So I've had a great group this summer, and it's just all about having a good time and entertaining. So that's why I like it.
But is it called it's not called the facilitator, I'm sure.
The
of
dungeon
that.
master,
The
or
dungeon
game master, or storyteller.
Yeah.
There's many games have come up with words that aren't so oppressive as dungeon master. Whenever I tell people I'm a dungeon master, they're thinking I'm like into S&M or something, you know.
Well, that's what we think that whole game is.
Yeah,
right?
that's what most people do.
So
you know.
I have never played. I don't even know how.
Well, then you got to come over to my house and let's do it.
I've been told that so many times, and I hear that you are one of the best ever.
I've just been doing it for a long time. You get a lot of practice.
That's one way you get to be the best. But I have a question. Since you went to MSU.
Yep.
And my next door neighbors in the 70s, the Joneses, which, by the way, Kevin Jones was one of the kids that got shot in the head at Everett in 78. One of the first school shootings in America.
Oh, cool.
Happened in Lansing.
Never heard of that one before.
So we've got elderly instruments in one of the first school. That's
Lansing history here.
Yes. But he played Dungeons and Dragons. And then, was it true that there were tunnels under MSU where people would have big games?
This is the urban legend / truth question mark of how I remember what went down. And it was an MSU student who was really young. He was a talented and gifted kid, and his name was Charles Dallas Egbert III. Charles Dallas Egbert III is his real name, and he made national news. And he was too young. He was 16 or something like that, being a student at MSU, and he just went off with his friends and played. He was essentially the guy who invented LARP, live action role playing. But he played D&D at MSU during that time period. But there's many steam tunnels underneath Lansing, East Lansing campus.
Yeah.
And just so many. And he just went down there and did stories, and they just play acted down there in the tunnels dressed up as hobbits or whatever. I mean, it made the news. And the reason it made the news is that the kid committed suicide. And he led the East Lansing detectives on a wild goose chase. And he left, like in D&D stories, he left riddles and maps, and he left all these means to find him, and his middle name was Dallas, so they eventually found him in Dallas at some hotel, and he, killed himself. And everybody and Ronald Reagan declared it was D&D that caused him to do that.
See, I remember that it all of a sudden became villainized.
Yeah,
because of that.
Yeah, but people like I did a interview show when I was in high school. My high school in Plymouth had a radio station. They still do. It's a highly functional, popular radio station. It was when I was a kid too, and I was assigned to do a documentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And I was in like 10th grade, and so I interviewed some of the people from the company. TSR is the name of the company that owned it at the time, and I interviewed that guy, one of the spokespersons from that company, and I interviewed the president of Mensa.
Oh, really?
I did this all over the phone with a little tape recorder with a little suction cup, and I would have to read the little statement saying, "I am recording this for,"
So do you have to be a genius to?
That's what the Mensa people said. The Mensa president said to me that it really improved people's math and science, and language skills and communication skills. So it was a great thing, and maybe that's why that Republicans at that time did not want people to think.
They don't like
it
when the masses get smarter.
Yeah, that was pretty much my interpretation then and now. Unfortunately, that was why they really went after it. But I've been playing it since. It's for me. It's like having a party. We make food.
Yeah.
It's a potluck every time. Everybody brings food, and we change the menu every week. And it's a great way of getting people together and have a great time. And and we get to hear and experience together a story. And I happen to like science fiction and fantasy. that's what the stories are all based on.
And the story always changes and
It's
always different.
If you play with a lot of people for a long time, you can create a whole history, and you can explore the world or whatever. But if it's just, I sometimes I just do games I call one night stands or something like that, where it's just we get together one night. And I can't create a whole world in one night, but I can create a story, in one setting. But if you play with me long enough, and then you get to experience the whole world that has been built by literally thousands of people who've been playing with me. I just keep on adding on to the world, and I have a whole history that I didn't even have to write.
Yeah.
All my players wrote over decades of playing the game. So.
This is it's still so fascinating to me. Like, how many people in the world do you think play?
I tried to do an estimate.
Closeted, right?
In the world, so many. Even when I was in high school, it started spreading all over Europe, and it was pretty exciting to see different versions of the book and written in German or French. But the game started in Wisconsin, late 60s, early 70s, bunch of guys in their dorm rooms or whatever, in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, and then it spread to U of M. And U of M was like one of the second big hubs where people started playing. And then because of U of M, it spread to MSU. Okay. And so at one point in history, the only people playing Dungeons and Dragons were people in Wisconsin and U of M and MSU. So wow. It was a kind of a closed community at the time, and I got part of it. So
I was a mathematician at U of M. I knew all the nerds. I don't know why I didn't know anybody playing. Well, they were closeted.
Well, they were closeted. Right? They were like them and three other guys would get together, For me, back in the day, there was never any women that played. It was so rare, and if you had a woman show up, everybody else was shaking in their boots. They were like. But today, almost every game I play, I make sure that it's a mixed group, and it's much more dynamic and interesting.
See, you're bringing down this stigma wall for me.
Yeah.
Because people have invited me, and I'm like, I've never played that before. I'm gonna feel stupid.
That's usually the response that people say when they start playing. But it's just like telling a story. It's called a microfiction, where it's just you're sitting around on a table. There's only 3 to 8 people sitting around, and it's a story that only those 3 to 8 people can connect with. If you weren't there, you don't get it. And I get so tired when people start telling me, "Oh, I played with John the other night, and we met the orcs in the forest, and the elves came," and then I just blank out. I'm like, I'm not going to even begin to understand what you're telling me because I wasn't sitting at the table with you. So that's why they call it a microfiction.
So you guys are all witnessing the seed being planted of my addiction and obsession to D&D sometime, right?
Yep.
Because I'm going to come play a game at your house, and I'm going to be like, when we playing again?
Well,
I'm try to do it. Yeah.
Well, you let me ultimately run a club here two summers ago, and so I had to lug all my stuff down in your basement here at the Fledge, and I remember running some great games.
Was that with Raphael then?
I think Raphael was there, but it was Dustin who pretty much organized. It was my middleman to set it up here, and so that was one of the first times I officially met you. Was when I was running my games here. You kind of wandered in and out.
Yeah,
I met you. So
it's like nerds.
Yeah, you were upstairs. Like nerds. Yeah, who's that? Who's that fat nerd? I'm not talking to him.
I never said fat nerd.
No, well, I gotta get to say it.
I would never say that. Rio Mini, to answer your question, we do still do studio sessions, and we'd love to have you reach out to us on Facebook. Do it after this weekend, though, because we set our date for today to kind of be our last unfolding day, and next week we're back up full steam until, of course, we get shut down with COVID again in the coming weeks. You think that?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I think it too. Yeah. And it is unfortunate. Go get vaccinated, jackasses. That's all I got to say anymore. I used to do a whole different thing. Mark, will you please go deal with him? Sorry about that, guys. And shut that door after he goes out. But sorry.
No,
got
yeah, I'm
interrupted.
okay, man. We're in a business here.
Yeah. So I'm still so fascinated. I don't even understand anything about Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know the game. I
explained it pretty well to you now.
Yeah.
Just kidding. There's some. You have to really sit down and it's hard to explain it until you actually run a session with someone good organizing it.
Well, I'll come to one soon. All right.
I'll hold it to you.
Promise, pinky promise. We pinky promise right now. Does Big Noah play?
Yeah, he's one of the people that co-created my world.
Does he bring his lady? I'm just kidding. That's an inside joke.
But
does he bring Karen?
I know him by Jim. No,
I'll call him Jim.
Yeah, just the beginning. But I think Jim, when I first met him in 1989, started gaming with me, and then it just every game I ever played with him in the beginning of those days was magical. And we the first time we ever played was at somewhere up near Cadillac, Michigan, in a A-frame chateau on a lake, and it was so cool to game, and we would hear the crickets and the birds, sounds outside, and it was a great environment. And but we've been gaming. We gamed this year even together on his porch. We actually ran a game on his porch a few months back, so that was good.
What else we need to talk about?
We talk about music here.
Music, yeah. Of course.
So I've been in the band Mighty Medicine for I can't believe 12 years we've been playing, and we've slowed down because of the pandemic, and that was rough on us. And we just lost our drummer. He passed away a couple months ago, and that really put an effect on our band. So we got a few things coming up that we're going to do, and I'm playing here at the Fledge. I'm doing a guitar solo event with a wonderful artist from Detroit, and on Sunday the 26th here at the Fledge, September 26th at 2:00. So now you know what time it is.
Thank you very much.
I was supposed to tell you that at 2:00 it was going to happen. But
and that's open to the public?
Yeah, it's open. Yeah. I believe at this point, depending on COVID, I think we discussed this a while back, and with this other artist. Now, this artist is the one that does this. His name's Timothy. I hope I can say his name right. Timothy Orikri. Timothy Orikri, Orikri. And his way of expressing beauty is he's a painter, and he plays with other musical musicians, and they play for about an hour. And during this hour, he comes up with an original on-the-spot art piece.
I checked out his Facebook page yesterday.
It's pretty colorful.
Yeah, it is good. It is very good.
It's good stuff. And I watched his videos, and he plays with the most unique musicians and duos. And so I'm real honored that I'm able to play with him, and I got to get my act together because I've taken a lot of time off from playing music because of the not performing every week like I did before the pandemic. So
you want to perform right now?
Sure. I got some instruments here. I got some silly ones I brought.
You say that silly. I think this is the most badass thing. We had one and the string broke, and I haven't fixed it yet. Well, but I always love.
It's a Michigan dulcimer, or also known as a canjo, because it's made out of can. I made this one with a friend of mine helping. He had the bandsaw, and he made the wooden part, and then I had to put the frets in and find a can, and did some really high-tech screwing there, to mount it.
Did Jim help you with that?
No, but Jim's helped me with a lot of other projects and instruments in the past. So he's as we all know, he's a great woodworker.
He said Jaw Harp. What's a Jaw Harp?
Oh, he wants me to play. Well, that's in my pocket.
I see. Well, no. This can thing is pretty sweet. If you don't mind for a second.
Okay,
I'll spend as much time.
So it's based on a dulcimer. It is a dulcimer. It's called a Michigan dulcimer. Some guy in Alto, Michigan, allegedly invented it, and so it's a Michigan native instrument, canjo, and that's spread. Everyone makes them now.
Yeah.
But it started here in Michigan, allegedly. I'll just say that.
I thought it was going to go going, and that was
That's
going to be
what
about
I did,
it.
didn't I?
But no, right? It seemed like a bunch of strings right? Are you impressed, Jada? We got a kid, ninth grader, not a kid, doing homework back here, and she's like, "What the heck is going on?"
Well, it's just it's based on a dulcimer. It's just one string instrument. It's kind of fun. But
That was amazing, actually.
from working at Elderly Instruments, I saw the first one, and the guy who made it came in, and everybody was kind of bowing down to him, and so he passed away, I think, probably in the late '90s. But I had a chance to meet him, and his name was written down somewhere, but I have too many pieces of papers with names on it. So it's a great instrument if you get a chance to make one, but it's the same fingering as a dulcimer, so I can be plunky with it. Awesome.
I've seen them before. We have one up there. The string's broken, but I've never heard anybody play
It's
one
just
before.
a guitar string. It's easy to put on.
Is it a particular gauge?
I always pick a G string.
A G?
Yep,
All right.
that's the best, or a B string. Those are the ones I would use.
All right. I
G
bet you
or a
there's
B.
one laying around on the floor somewhere, waiting to kill our vacuum cleaner.
Well, Jim mentioned the Jaw Harp. That's one of my favorite instruments.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the Jaw Harp.
Everyone knows it from Snoopy, right?
Yeah, Snoopy. Well, you have to. Once again, we're both 55. Ask someone who's under 40, and they're going to go, "What, Snoopy?"
If you guys don't know who Snoopy is,
They know
then-
who Snoopy is, but
Oh,
they won't put the two together.
I see.
Yes. There's a particular movie we all went to go see when we were in elementary school.
Is that what it was?
There was, yeah. You saw it at the theater.
Don't unravel my indoctrination in front of the crowd here.
Well, that's why you remember, because you went to the theater to see it. Yeah, but it was, Snoopy was famous for playing the Jaw Harp, but it's the oldest instrument in the world. It
Will
people,
you hold it
yeah,
a little bit?
Uh,
Oh, you don't. Yeah.
Whoa. It's basically a metal U with a thing in the middle.
Down a little lower. Yeah. Perfect.
It's a solid U-shaped metal that's bent, and in the middle is a thin piece of metal that's snaps, and it's called the reed or the tongue, and that moves. So this part moves. The rest of it's just like a magnet. It's just the same as like a metal magnet. So it's
All right.
kind of cool. The original one was the bow and arrow. The string was invented first, and then some prehistoric person tied it to a stick and made a bow and arrow, and people hunted, and then someone figured out if you took the end of the bow and put it against your tooth on the outside of your jaw, like my finger, and you pluck the string, you created a musical instrument. So there are cave paintings in Europe of people with bows attached to their jaw, and they're playing the jaw bow. And then somewhere people figured out how to make metal, and then they shrunk the bow into this little thing here. So this metal piece that moves is like the bow, the string of a bow, and it still attaches to your teeth, because that's the whole effect. Without the human head, it just sounds like a rubber band. Doesn't do much. But you attach this to this part to your top teeth, and the lower bar to your bottom teeth. You make a connection, and now you've made your whole windpipe and lungs an instrument, because the vibration goes through your teeth and makes the air in your lungs and throat make a sound, and your gut and everything about your innards is the body of the instrument, like the guitar body. It just
All right.
So you're hearing my insides of my body when someone's playing the jaw.
All right. Get ready, Jada. We're going to start dancing.
All right, here we go. I haven't played it in a while. A little rusty there.
That's amazing.
Oh, but you heard
I mean,
this.
I have.
You've heard it
but-
a million times. Every cartoon, or that sound that whenever any cartoon character gets hit in the head,
None of you knew that out there. None of you knew that, right?
Yeah, the Frogger game. It's used in so many commercials but it's an ancient instrument, so it's many times in cowboy movies and movies about the 17th century, and they always put someone playing this. That's when it was really popular.
Yeah, cowboys stomping around, playing it, right? Yeah.
So it's been around for thousands of years, and every culture has one. And some are designed differently, some are made out of wood, bone, but it all does the same thing. It's just that sound, your inside out sound.
Yeah. Which is they use that in diving too, right? Like you don't hear underwater, like if someone's talking to you, don't they just vibrate your jawbone?
I don't know. That sounds cool.
I mean, it's probably an evolution of, oh wait, it's gonna work like this. Let's do this. That's you're full of history here.
But that's been my passion my whole life. Just like that gypsy lady told me, I'm gonna have too many careers, and one I never fulfilled as history teacher.
Oh, is that one you got on your mind?
No, maybe in the future. I don't know. If I get money and go back to school, there you go.
Do you want to play the banjo or one of these?
Sure. The banjo's fun. This is a tenor banjo, so it's.
I have a shirt that my mom got me that says "Paddle faster, I hear banjos." So you can play Deliverance for us? Or I don't even know what that song was called. Don't play that. It'll scare everyone.
Well, that's probably one of the first things you learn. But that's played on a traditional 5-string banjo.
Oh.
And the 5-string banjo came from Africa when the slaves came over to America. That was pretty much one of the only things they were allowed to bring was the banjo. And then the African people in America got so famous in the late 1600s and 1700s, all the way through the 1830s. They were called the minstrels, and they played the banjo. And after the 1840s, the banjo started anglicizing, I guess, becoming more of a white person's instrument. But prior to 1840s, it was an African-American and African instrument. And so it's, I guess the word banjo is an African word. So it's kind of.
See, I've always associated with hillbillies.
Yeah.
Like white hillbillies.
Yeah. 1940s is when the hillbillies, where I grew up in Ohio, back to the beginning there, the banjar, a lot of them played it. Yeah, that was probably the first time I saw it was in West Virginia, people playing the banjo. I was like, what the heck is that?
Yeah, that's where those canoes were too, in West Virginia, right? Yeah. Deliverance, if nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but so this one's popular. This kind of banjo got popular in the 1880s through the 1920s when the mandolin got really popular. So this is a banjo based on a 4-string mandolin. So it's kind of interesting, but I tune it weird. So it's always a joke about my tuning on this banjo because I do it weird, and nobody else understands it or gets it, or neither do I. So,
but it's your thing.
It's my thing.
You're sticking with it.
Here we go. So here's a song I wrote in 9th grade. So let's see if I can do it. I haven't practiced at all.
You know what I noticed most about that? Your smile.
Yeah,
Is that an act, or is that how you feel?
That's how
every
I feel,
time
but
you
I
play?
trained myself to feel that way and act that way.
And
I got another story. You brought up another story here. When I was, high school and college, you watched Saturday Night Live. And the guitar player from Saturday Night Live, remember him? He had the blonde ponytail and a different guitar every week. And he was
always
smiling, always smiling. G.E. Smith is his name. And he was my hero. And he taught me without knowing that, that I got a smile. So once I started watching G.E. Smith play guitar, and you watched all the other guitar players, and they're just like, it's so much fun to watch a musician who's smiling. And he taught me that. And later in life, when I worked for Elderly Instruments, I mentioned all those famous musicians I met. I got a chance to hang out with G.E. Smith, and I did a photo shoot of him, and I drank whiskey with him, and I told him the story, and he was so drunk, and he just grabbed my shoulder and pushed me, and I started spinning at the bar stool. And this was down in Louisville, Tennessee, and at this guitar store bar. It was awesome. So I got a chance to spend a real evening with someone who I was influenced by. So there's the story.
So we're running a little bit long. I don't care at all.
All right. Well, we can end it.
With
I'm good.
Well,
I'm
wait.
good.
What's this?
Oh, that's just a dulcimer. It's like in between the two instruments.
Do you want to play it? Or
we're okay. If we can talk, we can keep on talking, or we can end the show.
Well, we're not going to end it quite that quick, but with this,
the Jaw Harp.
You ever thought about, let's mash you up with like a rapper or something and do some beats?
I've sure done that. Oh yeah, I've sure done that. I've done more with this than most human beings. So it's I've recorded out a CD on my CDs. I've recorded with it. I've done TV commercials with it twice.
Yeah,
and I recorded with rappers and a sitar once with with this
sweet.
thing, and didgeridoos and so it's
so that's a thing.
This is my thing. That's why I had two of them, one in left pocket, one in right pocket.
You always have that?
I always have it on. I should do that City Pulse thing, those little things.
Yeah.
But I always have this on.
Larry's favorite thing.
Yeah,
or whatever.
My students would hear me play it, and they would see me at Myers and go, "You got it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, mom, he's gonna play it. He's gonna play it." And that's the thing I told you.
So you just
about.
walk around Meyer playing it?
For brief 30-second intervals when I get put on the spot, but that's why you bring it everywhere.
So does that help reduce the jackassery in your classroom sometimes?
Sometimes it has, and sometimes it's done the opposite. It's riled them up to, frenzy.
But it's got to be impressive to them. Is that true?
It is.
Yeah.
For especially, even high school kids, would get into it, So as you heard me tell that little story about the origins of it, I would even go more detail with the kids, and we try to make certain variations of this instrument using rubber bands and other items we'd find in the classroom. So it was kind of fun. We've been successful.
All right. So I'm going to ask you again,
All
anything else we're forgetting to talk about right now?
Well, we talked about the show we're doing here at the Fledge on the 26th with the artist Timothy Oricree, and that's exciting. I was going to talk about my D&D, so we got that covered, and talked about a little bit of music here. And you can check my band out at mightymedicinemusic.com. Yeah,
mightymedicinemusic.com.
Yep, that's the website. We've been.
What are you going to do about your drummer?
It's we're still in grief, so we're grieving still.
Mighty
There's no
Medicine
doubt.
Music.
That's the website. The band's called Mighty Medicine, but mightymedicinemusic.com is our website, and has a lot of our songs on it and everything. So it's we're the singer of the band and I are still in mourning, and we'll eventually get out of it and rediscover some music. So
all right.
So I'm looking forward to that day, and
I'm sorry.
Oh, it was rough. It still is rough. it's hard. We worked together for over a decade, and it was a surprise to all of us.
Yeah.
It was something we have to get through. So, and we will, and we'll never forget the guy. John Esser was his name. So
John Esser.
John Esser.
How do I spell Esser?
Esser. Yeah, John Esser was our drummer, and he was older than me. And the first time I ever saw him play, I was here in Lansing in second grade, and his band came to my to the Lansing School District. We all all went to Sexton and big buses, and we saw his band play. And this dude had long white hair down to his knees, and he was the drummer. He just wild white hair, and I never put the two together until I started going through some of his pictures a few years back, and I said, I found one, and I went, "Oh my God, I remember you from second grade." And that's how first time I met you, I guess.
I went to Kendon. I don't remember getting bused to Sexton. They probably bused us to Everett or something.
Yeah, it was just the Universe Band.
Yeah,
was the name of the band, and it was for Lansing School District. I don't know, man. You missed out, man.
So, what do you do every damn day to search for that next career? I'm getting away from my normal question, which is
my next career. Well, I'm still trying to figure that one out. So I guess figuring it out every day.
But is there something you do every damn day that
every damn day for like my career?
Whatever. Own health and happiness.
My own health and happiness. Every day, I appreciate sleep. Yeah. Sleep is I've gone through my life, working 3 jobs at once or whatever, and it just, you don't function well without sleep. So every damn day I make sure I get enough sleep, and so that I can be on top of things.
I wake up a lot. You wake up a lot?
I wake up a lot, and that's the struggle. It's there's the old saying that when you want to figure out how old you are or someone is, you just take someone's height and then times it by how many times you go to the bathroom at night, and that's usually how old you are.
Yeah?
It's a joke, but it doesn't work out.
I don't go to the bathroom very much at night. I just wake up in a panic that I forgot to do something, or I don't know, someone's breaking into here, or I don't know what it is.
I guess I have the same experience. I'm always thinking someone's breaking in, or I have the same problems. Yeah, I think it's just getting old. You worry about those things. When you were younger, you didn't. You were the guy breaking into someone. But now that you're old, you're not doing that anymore.
Those assholes are out there doing what I used to do. I know they are. We daisy chain these shows together, and yesterday on the show I had Craig Derrick Jones, who's a filmmaker, and his question that he wanted me to ask you is, how do you keep yourself kind of motivated with all this when, I'm sitting here asking you to play these instruments for free. I'm devaluing. I should be paying you to come on my show and play this. Is that in your realm of thought, or
like just people taking you for granted of your talents and skills and stuff?
Yeah, like come play for free at my party.
It's been something in my life since I played the first note on my guitar. People, I would lie in 7th grade and said I could play guitar well, and then they would say, "Okay, come on over and do a concert, and we're going to invite everybody." And I've experienced that kind of stuff, and to me, I'm just used to it, and I don't take offense to it because I've done it too, to some of my friends. I've pulled strings to get people to make tables and put my cupboards in. Talking to James every day, and I get people to do things for me, so I get it. I just ignore anything. I don't take it as offense at all. It's just human nature, I think, to ask someone who has a skill or a talent to do it for you at the cheapest rate possible because it's me, you're my friend, and it's come both ways in my life, and so I don't let it affect me at all. But what my main thing is, I see my peers and people younger than me being affected by it. So in that realm, I'm usually counseling other people to chill out and don't take it so seriously. And you say, yes, I can do it, or you know what, I'm busy that day. That's the bottom line.
Does it all even out?
I think so. For me, it's evened out.
Yeah.
It's evened out. I had so many people help me with their special skills, over the years, and I've someone says, hey man, make a logo for me, or come do my party, play a concert, or
build a whole crypto for me.
Yeah, build a whole crypto for you. There you go.
I'm talking to Mark in the background, if no one knows.
Could you translate this for me? And that would be handed something like from the 17th century Japanese, and I'd be like, no.
Do you have a favorite Japanese word?
My favorite Japanese word? Oh my goodness. Kosho kyofusho. I just love saying it. Kosho kyofusho.
Kosho kyofusho?
Kosho kyofusho. And in Japanese, it means the fear of heights.
Fear of heights.
Fear of heights. And once I heard someone say that, I was like, that's like so hard to say for us.
See, I wanted to be a window washer on skyscrapers when I was a little kid. That was my dream. So I don't know that word. It's not in my vocabulary.
There you go. It is an extreme thing for me, and I've experienced it. Even in Japan, fear of heights, climbing up mountains and stuff. I'm like, no, I want to be flat in Michigan.
Yeah, not flat at the bottom of this hill.
The bottom in the valley, please.
So tomorrow on the show, Guru Doug, he's a TikToker, he's a prankster. He started out as an EDM musician and built a pretty big TikTok.
I'm gonna have to look him up. I'm not that TikTok generation.
Yeah, don't do it, man. Don't do it. It's not worth it. You're gonna get sucked in. You're gonna watch a lot of dancing,
a lot of twerking, I guess.
Yeah,
I get the jokes from just looking at media, but
you know what though? To be honest, TikTok is very educational once you curate your feed the way you want it. Once you start liking things like, oh, that taught me something, they
put you in the net of an algorithm, and there you go.
And my TikTok feed is so enlightening, and it really is a good tool because it's so super quick, and you can learn something so fast. And it's probably all bullshit and misinformation, but I don't care. I'm going with it. But it like little tricks on gardening and little tricks on.
All right. Well, I've never seen it other than just the things that show up on Facebook, and they're usually just dancing.
Yeah, there's funny things. There's really cool dancing, really cool musicians.
I've seen some skits and stuff that people do. It's I see that there could be.
But on my screen time analysis, like Facebook, I'd post about the Fledge and stuff like that. And so I'd spend maybe an hour a day on social media, just curating our feeds. And then all of a sudden when I got TikTok, the hours at TikTok and nothing on anywhere else. So if I've been neglecting my Facebook, it's TikTok's fault. Sorry, Facebook.
All right, man. It's a Chinese plot. Better watch out.
No, I think it's a mathematician, computer scientist plot somewhere that.
Somewhere down the rung. Yep, you're right. That's. I guess Facebook's like that to me lately since the pandemic started. I barely spent time on Facebook, and then I started, just watching everybody else's lives. It's what I do with it. I don't show much of my life. I'm just spending too much time watching everybody else, what they're willing to expose.
Did you ever do any Zoom D&Ds?
I tried it once the pandemic started, and it was very unsatisfying for me. Like I said, for me, it's a social event where, making food and looking at each other in the eye and laughing and crying and whatever you do at the D&D games. And
some people cry.
Well, it's a free action to cry. No, that's a joke, but anyways, D&D players will get, it's a free action to cry, man. But Some people have broken down into tears of joy and sorrow at my games.
Can you win D&D? Is there a winner, or is it just a journey and then you guys are like, all
It's
right?
like, is there a winner in life? Because it replicates a life, but it's fantasy, or it's sometimes you do a thing called a tournament game.
Okay.
Last man standing wins. It's kind of battle royale kind of thing. I've done those over the years, where you look at it, you make the game that way, and last man standing wins. And then there's certain things you can do to win, but there's no it's whatever's written into the story. Whatever, if everyone survives and gets drunk, that could be a win.
We can drink at these games?
Yeah.
I would. All
Yeah,
right.
you can drink as
Is
long
it a
as
free action?
It's free action to drink as long as you're 21 or older, and you can.
I'm 55.
I know, but we've, those are the rules of the house. So
All right.
as long as sometimes I'll supply booze back in the 1990s, but I don't supply. You're lucky if you get a beer from me, but so it's always bring your own.
Okay.
Bring your own, and that's.
You have the dice?
I've got about maybe, I don't know, thousands and thousands of every color and every type, and I separate them in freezer bags.
Is your house like a historical
Yes.
museum?
Yes, it
all
is.
this
There's
stuff?
all my stuff I've made and collected since the early 80s, when I had money to buy stuff for the game. And at 1980 is when I first started buying the miniatures. I got rooms dedicated to all of the stuff in my house, and Jim built this incredible table that fits everybody. We have James made a gaming table that's phenomenal in size. We've been using that for 20 years.
James is saying, stop by on your way home, please. He didn't say please. I added that for him, but
Talking to me.
and and Omar's arguing with him that James should just come to the Fledge right now. So I don't know what's.
I'd rather stop by at the house, because I was planning to. So
He's going to stop by, James.
yeah,
So
he's got.
what question do you want to ask Guru Doug?
All right. Well, I once I found out he's a trickster. He's what's he do again?
He's a prankster.
Prankster. There's the word.
Yeah.
Prankster. Same thing. But he does pranks, and I've been a pranker most of my life, and I've pulled off some great pranks in my life. But mostly intentionally, and I've done my fair share of cheap special effects to scare other people, and I use all those skills in my Dungeons and Dragons game. I may cut my hand off in front of you. You never know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What the hell, man? What did I just commit to?
No, I'm just joking. No, I'm not. But if my question is to someone who does pranking all the time is what prank would you not do? What thing would you not do that other people would gladly do? Where's your limit within normalcy there, I guess?
Yeah.
You understand that question?
I do.
Okay.
I don't know that there's anything though. I've seen him being dressed up in a security vest and walk up to people. Hey, the mask mandates aren't here. I'm going to have to give you a ticket if you don't take your mask off. He might do anything.
I'm just saying, but what would he not do? What wouldn't you do for love? I guess what would you not do that other people would think, why not? That's a tough question, maybe, for a prankster.
No, I think he'll be all right. He's a smart kid.
All right.
He's the next, what's that guy's name? Seth Rogen?
Seth Rogen.
Looks like him, acts like him, kind of carries that vibe, so we'll see.
Do we need more?
But I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I like him. I like Seth Rogen, so another one's okay.
Pineapple Express. That was funny. Fucking lingerers. As we're lingering, actually. Let's get going.
All right.
So what would you not do that other people would do in a D&D master setting, maybe?
Oh, what would I not do?
I don't know.
I have.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I have an answer that I will not talk about, but I'm trying to think, what would I not do that other people do? I got a lot of technical things that may not, make sense to people listening or whatever. Just techniques and things.
I need more subscribers. So
Yeah.
if you pull all the nerds in with your
Man,
technical
my
D&D talk,
techno thing. What would I not do?
invite Omar.
Yeah, I've invited Omar before, but he just doesn't show up. He's all excited about it, and he's like, "Dude, I'm there, man! Really awesome! That sounds so great!" And then the day of, he doesn't pick up the phone.
Yeah,
But that's normal. That's I've had that experience since high school, so I don't take it personally, and I just
Did I ever say I'd be there?
No.
Oh,
But if I like the person, I keep on calling them until they say, "Larry, stop blanking calling me," and then that's when I'll stop. Yeah,
right.
Omar hasn't said that yet.
So is there something? Or
What I'm just gotta think, man. What wouldn't I do? I got so many snarky answers. It's just there's too many things popping in my head.
Just
right
give us
now.
one.
But I want to come up with something clever. What wouldn't I do that other dungeon masters would do? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I guess I'm only coming up with nerd answers, but I
Just give us one.
I'll give you one nerd answer. People are rule sticklers. I don't care about the rules. It's just how much fun we have in the game.
Yeah.
It's people who are just bound to the rules of the game bore me, and we have rules, and it doesn't matter what the rules are in some aspects. You just have to live life.
Around here, we talk about having values and not rules. Do you think like you have a value?
I have a value
system around.
Well, I have rules in my game, and they're the original D&D rules, but it's the values, the feeling I want everybody to have when they game with me. I want everyone to be happy. I want everybody to get pissed off. I want everybody to cry. I want everybody to laugh. And, I want every emotion to happen. So that's my value at a game. As long as we all experience all the emotions and then we come out smiling, then I've had a successful night.
See, I'm always scared, like in situations like that too, that, I'm going to pick the sword and everyone's going to snicker and, you're an idiot. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, I try to limit people playing that way. I only invite the cool people.
Oh, yeah.
I weed them out, in the beginning if they're going to be negative.
You've mentioned Omar and Jam.
Yep.
Can you give us an example of a cool person that you? I'm just kidding.
You can come on over. But all of our common friends have been at my house playing. All the people that start with K and all those.
Oh yeah, even him.
Yeah, but he came over many times over the years. Even him.
I was in the room with him the other day, and he said something. I'm not going to say anything. I don't even know why I brought it up, but he said something, and I was like, "Now I understand you." Okay.
Yeah. He's good that way.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. Well, we love him too. Yeah, there's no doubt.
You're amazing.
Thank you. You're amazing, man.
It's the instruments. The
Sorry
history.
to blather on.
No, not at all. We talked about this, that it's probably going to go a little bit longer than usual all that, because you have had, 6 of your 10 careers or whatever, and you are from my perspective looking in, you are very loved in our community.
Oh, thank you.
And I don't say that to everybody because we don't always all get along, but you seem to be like a touch point for so many people.
I've been told that many ways, many times. And I feel that if I've done anything in my life is that I'm like the spider web for all my friends to come to my web. No, but I have made so many connections and connections have made connections. I have to say I disagreed 10, 15, 20 years ago when people told me that, but now I look back and I've been a hub of many interactions that go beyond me.
I've never heard "I hate Larry." I've
Oh,
only
I've heard it. I've heard it many
I'm
times.
Sure, I'm sure. I've heard I hate Jerry, but
sure.
not I hate Larry.
No, I've had many people hate me. That's it's good to have both. At least you're.
Well, maybe you're not pushing the envelope enough if you don't have enough haters. Huh?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. There you go. Well, I appreciate being on your show. I didn't know much about it, but this is a great thing. I'm glad that I'm one day out of your year on a special day for you and your birthday.
Thank you.
I'm 55 and you turned 55 today. Now you're cool.
I caught up with you now.
You caught up with me.
What are we, like senior citizens and shit, right?
Almost.
We can get all kinds of benefits.
Where's
my benefits?
I get the senior discount at the Apple Market. So
you do?
Oh, yeah, man.
55?
No, I think it's older, but they give it to me because I look old.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
I'm not going to just go embarrass myself real quick at Apple Market.
I demand my 5% discount.
I'm 55. Well, that's for 60 euro.
Yes.
What would you like to take us out with?
Wow. Oh my goodness. I'm just happy to just something to say or
Whatever you want.
Okay.
It's your show.
It's my show. All right then. Well, let's watch Battlestar Galactica. That's what. Oh, sorry.
That's your advice.
That'd be my advice. The original series.
And...
Battlestar Galactica. Well, I could take us out with a Jaw Harp, I guess. Play some music.
I won't turn that.
Or that instrument I didn't play yet.
Yeah, let's do that.
So,
all right.
This is a dulcimer, and based on the lap dulcimer, that hourglass shaped instrument that fits on your lap if you've ever seen one. And this is a kind of a one that you play like a guitar. And it also is part of Michigan folk music history, the variations of this instrument. Some of them have a triangular shaped body, and they're called Strum Sticks. And this is a Strum Sticks built like a guitar.
So they were playing this when they invented euchre or whatever?
Yeah, probably. It's all interconnected here. But this is just a dulcimer that you play like a guitar. This is called a Marlin. It's made in Canada. Shout out to Jim. Yeah, man. Canadian guitar cartels, Godin and Art and Lutherie and Seagull. All right, here we go.
Very Napoleon Dynamite, right? Is that must have been what they were playing at the that song there. But dude, you're a badass. I understand now.
You too,
I understand a lot more. I understand a lot more.
Okay, I don't know.
I saw you in these
little windows.
These windows of different things, music and D&D and people talking about that, but putting it all together, now I get Larry. Thanks for being Larry.
All right. Well, I was being Larry.
Love y'all. See you tomorrow with Guru Doug. We're going to start a little bit later because he's a 20-something that lives in LA, so he can't get up before noon and all that stuff.
I thought this happens to me.
Huh?
I thought that just only happened to me. 55-year-olds waking up at noon.
Really? You get to wake up at noon? Dude, I picked the wrong. I needed to be a teacher, D&D, musician, political bartender.
I get up at 6:30 every day, man.
Yeah?
It's rough. Got to make breakfast.
For who? You?
For my wife. Got to make her breakfast. It's a bad relationship if you don't do breakfast.
Really? You're the second person that said that on the show. A guy woke up every day to make his wife breakfast.
Yep, I had to. Yep. Or should just wither away.
Really? Yeah. Love y'all. Love you, Larry.
Thank you,
see you
sir.
tomorrow. Thank you very much. Adios,